I start talking about something and then it's just, not one.
Okay, meeting's now live.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Councillor Susie Horton, the Cabinet Member for Children, Families and Education, and welcome to this meeting, which is being held virtually in response to the limitations placed on governance by the COVID-19 pandemic. The City Solicitor has advised that this meeting will be run by reference to the model standing orders as set out in the Local Authorities Coronavirus Flexibility of Local Authority Meetings Regulations 2020, number 392. Members of the public are invited to view this meeting. There's been an opportunity for written representations to be submitted. Those present are requested to keep their microphones on mute and to only turn them on when they are called to speak. If anyone would like to speak, please write your name and RTS in the chat function. If there are any technical difficulties, we will endeavour to resolve these and where necessary have a brief adjournment. I'm just going to ask the other spokespeople to introduce themselves. So, Councillor Norton.
Thank you, Councillor Terry Norton.
Good afternoon and welcome. Councillor Smith.
Jeanette Smith, present, Chair.
Welcome. And Councillor Smythe.
Judith Smythe, Councillor, present.
Welcome. So now I'm going to go to the officers. I'll start the order I've got here. Alison Edgerton.
Good afternoon. Alison Edgerton, Group Accountant for Children, Families and Education.
Thank you, Alison. Welcome. Angela Mann.
Hello, I'm Angela Mann. I'm Finance Manager for Children, Families and Education.
Welcome, Angela. Alison Jeffrey.
Hello, I'm Alison Jeffrey, Director of Children, Families and Education for the City Council.
Welcome. And Lisa Gallagher.
Hi there, Lisa Gallagher from Democratic Services.
Welcome. And Jonathan Waite.
Jonathan Waite, Democratic Services.
Welcome, Jonathan. Thank you very much. So first item on the agenda is apologies for absence. And I definitely haven't had any. Has anyone else received any?
I think everyone's here today, Chair.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's here. Full house. The second item is declarations of interest. So these are members' declarations of interest. I will kick off with my usual one, which is I am Vice Chair of Grangewater Junior School. Jeanette, Councillor Smith.
My normal one, I'm a full-time paid official of Unison. So if any issues come up in regards to Unison, then I might have to withdraw, but there's nothing on the agenda at the moment.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Norton.
Yep, usual one for me as well. I work at Mayfield School through an external agency.
Thank you. Okay, so that's us covered. So we'll go on to item 3, which is the 2020-21 Early Years Providers COVID-19 Additional Grant Spring 2021. This will be very familiar to people, but I will hand over to Angela to present the report. Thank you.
Thank you. This report follows the report that we did in December 20 that went to the school forum and also cabinet member, where we provided extra grants to early year providers of 2,700 and to childminders of £500 to support their sufficiency and continued recovery following the national lockdown earlier in 2020. At the time, we didn't know what the financial position would be at the end of the year, so we said that we'd bring another report to both Schools Forum and Cabinet Member Decision Day, what further grant funding we might be able to give to providers. So this report follows on from the grants that were awarded in December. There's still some uncertainty as to where our final year-end position will be, including what funding we will be getting for the spring term. So to ensure that we can make the payments as soon as possible, the paper provides different amounts for early year settings and childminders depending on the final outturn for the year. and they're in table 1. But the proposal would be that subject to the approval that we would make those payments once we know the outturn. I don't know whether there's any questions you would like to ask.
No, I think we've rehearsed this before. I think probably we're all aware that the early years sector is feeling a little bit aggrieved and feel like that they're the poor relations of the education system. And if we can do whatever little things we can do to help them through this difficult time, then I think they're very welcome. So I'm really pleased. I think I said when we passed the first grant, I know definitely said that if there was the opportunity to revisit and give a second grant that we would, and I'm really, really pleased that we're able to do that. Jeanette.
Yeah, just to sort of say that the feedback that I've received has been really welcomed, and unlike other councils who don't seem to have done this, Portsmouth have stepped up to the plate, and they should be congratulated as officers for a really good report. This does go a long way and does help a lot of people. There's more to do, we know, but just even these amounts will save some from the brink. So well done to everybody, really.
Yeah, thank you for that. Excellent. If there's no more comments, then we will. I will use my official recommendation that I approve the proposed grant values to be paid in the spring term 2021, subject to the forecast year end position as set out in table 1. Thank you very much for that. So we'll move on to the next item, item 4, which is the dedicated schools grant budget 21-22, not 2002. We've added 200 years to that. I feel like I've aged 200 years in the last year, but I'm sure it's 2022. And so Angela's going to present that.
Thank you. This report follows earlier reports to the Cabinet decisions days and shows the initial determinations of the school's budget for 21-22. The report also sets out the High Needs block budget in more detail. In particular, sets out the projected numbers of specialist places and the associated budgets, along with the mainstream element 3 top-ups. This includes a proposal to increase the element 3 top-ups in special schools, inclusion centres and mainstream by 2% for the financial year 21-22. The high needs budget also covers the hospital and medical budget, the early years complex needs inclusion budget, the portage and the sensory impairment budgets, which are included in the report. The report requests approval to go out to consultation on how to build on the work to increase successful reintegration of the pupils from alternative provision, which Schools Forum endorsed. And finally, the report asks for approval for any carry forward balances to be used to assist with the continued introduction of the reform changes and fund any potential financial pressures arising in 21-22. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I think a lot of us have been to Schools Forum, so are there any questions from anyone? I think it's quite straightforward. No? Okay then, in which case I will approve the decision to approve the initial determination of the school's budget 21-22, approve the special school inclusion centre and alternative provision places, approve the element 3 top-up values for special schools, inclusion centres, alternative provision settings and pupils with an EHCP in mainstream schools, approve the proposal to consult with the Harper School and secondary schools with reference to the turnaround project as set out in paragraph 5.23, and approve the proposal that any carry forward of balances from 2021 be used to assist with the continued introduction of the funding reform changes and fund any potential financial pressures arising during 21-22. Well, that was quick. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending today. Have a good evening, and I will see you soon on Zoom or Teams or wherever. Okay, thank you very much for attending, and the meeting is now formally closed at 11 minutes past.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Very much.
Thanks, everyone.
I'll just go and turn the live streaming off for you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Susie, perhaps you could stop for a moment when with the live streaming is discontinued.
Yeah.
Anybody else can as well, just to.
Yeah.